I swear I never meant for any of this to happen. But the moment he told me my human body heat was addictive, everything changed. Now there's a glow slipping under my door at night, footsteps that stop right outside my bedroom, and a voice soft, wrong, too close whispering my name like it already owns it. I don't know what he wants, or what I accidentally triggered in him, but ever since that strange night, he's been following me everywhere. And whatever is happening to him now, it's getting stronger. If you'd asked me 3 months ago whether I'd ever end up sharing an apartment with an alien who thought human body heat was a recreational drug, I would have laughed and then wondered whether you'd been inhaling something questionable. Now I'm sitting on the couch, one arm around a creature whose skin is the color of storm silk and whose markings glow like bioluminescent wiring. And I can't tell whether I should be more embarrassed or astonished. Mostly I'm both. Her name translated into the little bit of galactic standard she'd suffered to teach me is Lyra. To most humans, she'd be classified as exotic, which is one of those words that tries to be polite and ends up being a compliment disguised as a refrigerator magnet. Up close, she's anything but a marketing phrase. Lyra is tall for her species, the kind of tall that means she stoops to make eye contact in crowded rooms without ever seeming self-conscious, with a hair-like mane that shifts color subtly when she talks. Her eyes are quadruple set, 2 on either side of a narrow, slightly upturned face, and each set tells you different things. One pair reads temperature. One pair reads scent. The lower pair tracks micro-expressions in muscle and skin. It's unnerving and fascinating in equal measure. The markings are the first thing people notice. They ripple along her collarbones and down her forearms, pale at rest and washing into neon when she's amused or exerting herself. Tonight the markings are a lazy gold. I'm an idiot for admitting it, but watching them makes me feel like a moth circling a street lamp. I blame the way she laughs. It's a sound that feels like a private joke between my ribs in the air. We met at the university biolab. She was a visiting researcher from a culture that calls itself Tehran, and I was the guy who could repair optical arrays and make good coffee. We signed a roommate contract because Tehran housing directives don't conform to municipal codes, and splitting rent with someone who has a refrigerator with an internal temperature gradient was a compromise both of us were willing to make. That contract also didn't anticipate cultural norms. Tehran are tactile in ways that make handshake-avoidant humans squeamish. On Tehran public transit, the acceptable personal space bubble is a different color. On their holidays, people sit in a pocket, the Tehran phrase, which, roughly translated, means one person deliberately sitting on another's lap as a sign of trust and social binding. Lyra once demonstrated by sitting on a lab stool, her knees astride the cylinder like a commander on a throne. I'd laughed and called it theatrical. She'd given me a look like I'd insulted her pillow. Tonight is Friday. I'd been up late writing bug reports, and the apartment smells like burnt coffee and ozone. Lyra bounces through the doorway, humming something with no equivalent in any human key. She drops her coat and says entirely seriously, "I thought we could practice pocketing. It's socially reparative after a week of low-touch human ritual." I raise an eyebrow. "You want to sit on me? As a scientific experiment?" She cocks her head. "You are warm. It should be instructive." Her tone is as literal as a lab manual. I almost believe her. She moves with the kind of calm efficiency you see in people who've memorized 6 different gravitational fields. She sits. The world compresses. Her weight is nothing like human weight. It's denser, like cotton wrapped around iron. The first physical thing that punches through my comedy is the heat, not just surface temperature, but a tide of warmth. The sort that seems to redefine cozy on the fly. Lyra's body is a furnace and a sundial all at once. The glow along her collarbone brightens from gold to molten amber as she settles. There's a soft vibration under my palm where we make contact. A humming that's not quite a purr, and not quite a musical note. The apartment's cheap thermostat reads nothing. My skin remembers the contact differently, like it's recording the information rather than merely feeling it. Is this normal? I blurt, because I have the conversational subtlety of a power drill at times like this. She laughs, gold markings flicker, and says, "You have a dense thermoregulatory field. Your epidermis radiates in a pattern my sensors find optimal." She is trying to be clinical and failing spectacularly. Her lower eyes narrow, as if reading my pulse. The top pair dilates as if appraising the novelty of my heat. Suddenly, I'm aware of the fact that I'm breathing in her scent, which is like rain on hot pavement in Basel, and something metallic that the human mind keeps trying to translate into danger and failing. Before I can parse it, Lyra's hands find my shoulders. Her fingers are cool at the tips and warm at the palms. She leans forward, and her face is a picture of concentration. Affirmative. Stimulus. Human body heat. Response. Significant reward cascade. Noted. She sounds almost bored. Like reading a return label, but the glow along her throat deepens. And a thin strand of color, what I later learn is a pheromonal shimmer, lifts off her skin and knits itself into the air between us. And then something very biology forward happens. Lyra inhales sharply, and the hum under my palm spikes into a faster rhythm. Her pupils one set flare into luminescent crescents. She freezes. I freeze too, because this line of events is not in any roommate agreement I signed. "You okay?" She blinks at me, twice, then laughs awkwardly. "My apologies. My body is amplifying." The words come out clipped, clinical again, but there's a tremor under the clippedness. Her hands tighten around my shoulders in a way that is not entirely accidental. A tendril of her hair shimmers, and when it touches my neck, the hair leaves a trail of warmth like a brief, focused sunbeam. I can feel my own face warming. My heartbeat nudges into panic and curiosity at the same time. If by amplifying, you mean glowing like a neon sign and squeezing the life out of my traps, then yes, I say, trying for levity and landing somewhere between a chuckle and a wheeze. Should I be calling the landlord? Or is this a new feature? She cocks her head and gives me a look of gentle reproach. Do not be facetious. This is a physiological reflex. On Tehran, when a subject is in close thermal contact, we often share pheromarkers to facilitate bonding. Under controlled conditions, it is harmless. Her lower voice drops a notch. Under uncontrolled conditions, it can be binding. Binding. The word lingers between us like steam. My mind does the thing it does when you're not supposed to think about one particular subject, and then your brain runs a looping slideshow. Bonding rituals, pheromarks, controlled conditions. The apartment suddenly feels smaller. Her chest rises and falls against me in a rhythm. I wasn't expecting my body to notice so intimately. Controlled conditions would include. I try to smile, not casually sitting on the human roommate who also happens to be in his underwear and file readings. She falters. There's a heat shimmer that crawls up her neck. I misjudged social thresholds. The amusement in her voice is gone. She's suddenly the earnest technician again, eyes wide with genuine contrition. Please advise. I want to tell her that it's fine, that we'll recalibrate our cultural exchange matrix, that human decency and several forms of common sense will see us through. Instead, I find myself saying, there's a protocol for this? She answers with the sort of blunt honesty that, for all its charm, always manages to increase the blush factor. There is. My instructors taught that, in cases of reflexive pheromarking, immediate physical contact sustained, stable contact reduces the volatility of the cascade. Essentially, hugging. A directed embrace for approximately 10 minutes. Hugging. My brain trips over the word, because this is not how the textbook describes saving yourself from an alien mating reflex. But when Lyra's lips curve, just a whisper of amusement, and her glow dims from a frantic amber to a softer rose. Logic packs up its bags, and the human part of me relocates to my throat. We should hug then, I say. For science. For 10 minutes. She tilts her head. For stability, she amends, and curls one arm around my waist. The apartment lights catch the shimmer of her markings. For a brief instant, I think I can map constellations on her skin. There's something ridiculous about standing in my living room in a makeshift cultural containment. Hug while a kettle whistles in the kitchen. There's also something entirely right about it. Like a missing chord finding its place in a song you didn't know needed to be finished, that we press together. Lyra's warmth becomes a presence that matches my own heartbeat. Her breath smells of citrus and something more complicated. Her hum slows. I can feel the vibration dissipate into me like a low-frequency radio signal fixing on a station. 10 minutes, I tell myself. 10 minutes of containment. Nothing more. That's the plan. The hallway light flicks on. A sharp, familiar knock snaps both our heads toward the door. The sound is ordinary. The timing is not. Through the small square of window in the door, I can see a shadow in the frame. My friend Kayla, likely with her habitual late-night pastry, or maybe a misdelivered package. She has never met Lyra. Lyra stiffens inside my arms, the glow along her spine skipping like a heart rate monitor. Her lower eyes narrow, then widen as she processes the silhouette. The hum that had been dissolving begins to thrum again, a tremulous string plucked beneath her skin. Her grip tightens around my back. Kayla, unaware and cheerful, says my name through the door in a way that is usually the preface to good news and worse timing. My mouth goes dry. Lyra's pheromarkers spike faintly. I can feel the air thicken, as if someone has turned on a fog machine for feelings. For 10 minutes, I had a plan. For 10 minutes, we were going to be merely roommates, curing an accidental cultural mishap with polite protocol and a timer. The universe, apparently invested in both comedy and chaos, has other ideas. Other side of the door, Kayla says, "Dude, you left your..." and stops, probably because she can see through the peephole. There's a beat of silence. Then a muffled voice that I don't know says, "Oh my," and the sound ricochets off the wood like a dropped dish. Lyra's head tilts slightly, and for the first time since we met, I see something like territorial confusion flicker across her features. The glow along her throat deepens not in panic anymore, but something hotter, something with a blade in it. I want to laugh because the absurdity is unbearable. I want to apologize because my apartment smells like burnt coffee and my life is a sitcom. Mostly I want to dissolve into the couch and pretend none of this is happening. Instead, I inhale and realize that Kayla's presence outside the door has rewired the room, changed the current, and pushed something else toward the surface. Lyra murmurs my name, my actual name, and the sound is lower than I've ever heard it fall from her throat. It should be a comfort. The hairs on my arms decide to stand up anyway. The knock comes again, and with it, the inevitability that whatever happens next will not be contained to 10 minutes. The door swings open before I can invent a coherent social script. Kayla's face fills the entryway, eyebrows arched, mouth forming a perfect O that I now recognize as I have walked into something I did not expect. Behind her, the late-night city air pushes a cool line of smell into the apartment. Kayla blinks, then blinks again, because Lyra is not what the human brain has labeled normal. Lyra, pressed against me like a living, glowing decorative throw, turns to face our visitor with that wonderful, terrible composure Kiran put on like a uniform. Kayla stumbles into the room, as if gravity had briefly considered an alternate path. Oh, hi? She says because English is a flexible thing in the face of luminescent skin and extra eyes. Did you get a new roommate, Mark? Her eyes flick from my face to Lyra's markings, to the small halo of shimmering scent threads floating between us. I don't have the heart to say that this was not really the plan. Lyra's hands, still curled around my waist, flex. The glow along her collarbone pulses with a slow, deliberate rhythm, as if it's matching her thoughts. Her lower eyes, those that track muscle, are all business. Visitor, she says, pronouncing the simple word as an observation. Her voice is not hostile, it's precise. But the pheromone markers in the air thicken like steam, and Kayla frowns in that intuitive way people do when their nose says something peculiar. I want to say, Kyla, this is Lyra. Lyra, Kyla. Instead, my mouth produces heatless syllables. Kyla, this is Lyra. I point, because apparently we have regressed to kindergarten introductions under duress. Kyla manages an uneven smile. Hi, Lyra. Nice to meet you. She steps farther in, clutching a paper bag that rustles with the promise of pastries. I brought croissants. Her voice is the picture of optimistic distraction. No one is paying attention to the croissants. Lyra's left-hand fingers long and elegant, tipped with little pads that leave tiny, temporary luminescent prints, reaches out as if to inspect the bag. Her fingertip brushes Kayla's wrist. I see the moment her face changes, not shocked, not offended, but suddenly calculating. The glow along Lyra's throat loses its amber warmth and burns a sharper pink. The hum under my palm spikes. Kayla laughs, oblivious, and gives a little shiver. Whoa, are you cold? She asks my chest, then flushes when she realizes how that sounds. I mean, do you want to? She makes an embarrassed motion toward the couch. If it were any other time, I would have offered the couch, made some joke about my DIY radiator system, and we'd have had pastries and gossip. But Lyra's body is a weather map of interest and alarm and desire, and those things are not easily placated by flaky pastry. Do not touch, Lyra says, the four eyes narrowing in a formation that, to human interpretation, reads as do not touch. Her voice is quiet, and the 3/4 of the apartment that falls under its umbrella listens. Kayla blinks. Oh, sorry, I? Her apology is immediate and genuine. She takes a step back. Something about Kayla's distance tells Lyra that the external variable is not a threat in intent. And yet, because Tehran biology writes social contracts differently, Lyra's pheromarkers flare in a way that looks suspiciously like territoriality. Her hands find me again, fingers tangling at the small of my back. Her jaw sets. It's subtle, but my entire chest tightens. Mark, she says my name in a way I've never heard her say it. All possessive syllables folded into one soft thing. Kayla shifts, uncomfortable, and my mouth goes dry. Do you require assistance? Lyra asks, as if offering me a choice between two equally scientific outcomes, help or claim. I cough, because speaking feels like a complicated apparatus I haven't calibrated yet. I know I can handle pastries and social interaction. My smile probably looks like a face trying to reboot. Kyla, bless her, tries to make a joke. Okay, so new roommate. Glow in the dark? That'll save on electricity. She laughs at her own joke, which is mostly a stalling tactic. It mostly works. The air relaxes a fraction. For 2 breaths, the world is manageable. Then Kayla, who has always been something of a human magnet for awkward confessions, asks the question no one asked aloud, but everyone feels. So, are you too? Her eyebrows rise like signal flares. Silence hangs. Lyra's skin dims to a careful lavender that I later learn is the color of consideration in Tehran expression. If her species had eyebrows, she'd be raising them in unison. Her fingers on my back tighten. Not in the human sense, Lyra says, and I hear the honesty in her cadence, the way she navigates unfamiliar social semantics. This was an accidental ferric cascade initiated by proximity and the release of volatile markers. Mark and I are roommates with. She searches for the correct translation, temporal bonding potential. Kayla's mug of surprise leaks croissant crumbs onto my floor. Temporal what now? She blurts. I want to crawl under the coffee table. Temporary, I say, not terribly helpfully. Like for the night. My brain provides the phrasing so quickly, I don't remember thinking it. It's ridiculous. To limit something like this to a night, but it helps to say it out loud. Limitation is a friend. Lyra's gaze flicks to me. The cascade is abortive under continued contact, she says. But if interrupted, she doesn't finish, because she doesn't want to say the word escalate in front of a human who might misinterpret what escalation entails. Kyla, bless her again, misses all the nuances, and instead says, oh? Like a thing that needs continuing? Yes, Lyra says, the single word both eloquent and explosive. Her glow edges into a thin, dangerous pink. She leans, in just enough that her scent brushes Kayla's cheek, and Kayla inhales sharply. The pastry bag drops forgotten at her feet. Mark, you okay? Kayla asks, because now the concern is face-to-face and real. Her eyes flick between us as if scanning for cues. I wish there were a manual for this dot at that moment. The apartment. Phone, an old, stubborn device I kept because nostalgia is expensive, begins to ring. The sound is ludicrously cheerful, a carousel call tune that undercuts the tension like a clown at a funeral. Kyla jumps. Lyra's hands clench. The humming under my skin ramps up like a failing amp. Answer it, Lyra says in a tone thinner than I like. Her fingers press into the fabric of my shirt, and I'm acutely aware of the press of her body and the way our temperatures are now a single weather system. The phone continues to ring. I fumble for the handset because my instincts keep choosing comedy over rationality. The caller ID flashes Supervisor Dr. Remen, of course. This is the universe. Your boss calls exactly when you are in the middle of an interspecies ferromarker emergency. I put the phone to my ear, and a voice professional, thin, casually heuristic asks, Mark, are you at home? We need you at the lab in 20. There's been... The rest of the sentence gets muffled by the current in my chest, and the luminescence at my side that suddenly feels like a living compass, pointing at something important and urgent. As I explain, POORLY, that I may be indisposed. For a short period, Kayla watches the interaction with a baffled face and an expression that will later be captured as you were glowing. And I was jealous and also confused. Lyra leans so close, I can feel the hum of her breath against my jaw. The scent that moves from her to me is thick, honeyed, intimate. It makes my scalp prickle. Kayla, to her credit, ducks out awkwardly with one last look over her shoulder. Well, try not to bond or whatever, she says, evidently very uncertain of the verb. She scoops up the pastry bag and leaves, the door clicking shut behind her with an almost conspiratorial finality. The click of the door is a signal. The apartment contracts. Lyra's glow blooms the way a flower might if it had a conscience, and there's a lowing sound from her chest that is either a purr or a warning. Her hands move up from my back to my shoulders. Her eyes meet mine in a way that forces my heart to arrange itself into interesting, embarrassing patterns. Complete contact, she says simply, until cascade stabilizes. I exhale because there's nowhere left to put the air. Right, I say, and mean it in a way that surprises both of us. We move. Then two people who are suddenly sharing protocol and pulse and the ridiculous human language for, oh my God. What is happening? Lyra's forehead rests against mine, and the world narrows to the small, bright pool of luminescence between us. Her skin is warm and somehow electrically alive. Her breath fans my lips. The hum lowers. It becomes less frantic and more like the opening of an instrument. We hold, and something in the universe shifts, like a key turning a lock. The immediate crisis, external interruptions, strangers at the door, curious friends, slips back a notch. For the first time since she sat on me like a small, very handsome planet, I feel like we are both moving toward the same strange, delicate thing. And then, because the universe is both comic and cruelly efficient, there is a knock on my window light. Insistent tapping that could be anything from a building inspector to a persistent pigeon. It's a sound that promises that stability is temporary, and that the story is not done with me yet. The tapping at the window turns out to be the universe's way of reminding me that privacy is a human construct, and my building has none of it. I peel my forehead off Lyra's and glance at the thin pane. A small municipal inspection drone hovers there, its LED ring blinking like an apologetic firefly. Whoever scheduled the thing loves bureaucracy and hates timing. Its camera swivels with the officiousness of a neighbor with free time and a clipboard. Inspection drone, I say, because apparently naming things helps. Probably for the balcony railing we haven't fixed yet. Lyra snorts a delicate musical exhalation that sends a ripple through the markings along her ribs. For a second, I forget that this is an emergency and not a date. Your city automata are inefficient, she pronounces, which is what passes for a complaint in Tehran, and honestly, I can't argue. The drone emits an apologetic chirp and then buzzes away, its little mechanical heart beating a pattern that is somehow too cheerful for the situation. We breathe. The hum in Lyra's chest quiets to a soft, serviceable thrum. The color in her skin shifts from urgent pink to something like warm violet, and in between hue that says, still fragile. I keep my arms around her because it feels wrong to let go, and because the warmth is a tether I'm slowly learning to read. Okay, I say. And the word is both a promise and a question. Stabilized? Margin of safety increasing, she replies. But not resolved. There's an odd intimacy in being a partly scientific life support system for someone else's biology. I'm 10 kinds of out of my depth, but there's something startlingly domestic about it. The way her hair smells like citrus and oil. The small rise of her shoulders when she exhales. The way her hands map the shape of my back like a cartographer finding familiar coasts. I find myself smiling, which is a bad habit in the face of emotional complexity. Lyra huffs softly and mimics the expression with a crooked tilt. You're weirdly good at this, she says after a moment, as if noticing for the first time that I'm there to be used as a human space heater. You are warm in a steady, non-volatile pattern. Thanks, I say, flattered and mortified in equal measure. I practice on cheap space heaters. She snorts again, and then softer. This proximity is pleasurable in a pattern my texts did not prepare me for. Which texts? I ask, because which of her textbooks did she skip? Romantic comedies don't usually make the syllabus for exobiology. The manual on social boundaries? She suggests. The chapter on sensory modulation. Her lower eyes flick to mine in a way that reads, with painful clarity, as amusement. The appendix labeled, Do not introduce to Homo sapiens without consent. Appendix A. Don't sit on the human. I feel like the punchline of a cosmic joke. I'll put it on my fridge. Her laugh is a small glow that chases itself along her collarbone. For a heartbeat, everything is sweet enough to spread across toast. Then, like an undertow you ignore until it's on your ankles, Lyra's hum shifts pitch. It's subtle and almost inaudible alteration, but the pads of her fingers press into my back with a new urgency. You feel it, she says, but it's not a question. It's a recognition. She inhales, and the air around us ripples with scent in a way my nose. Primitive and foolish, understands as focus. The violet in her skin deepens to a molten umber at the edges, then spills into rose. My heart does that ridiculous thing where it wants to run and lean at the same time. Yeah, I admit. I feel it. She studies my face with more intensity than is necessary for diagnostic purposes. There is a metric here, she murmurs. That suggests the cascade may reach critical threshold without an increase in contact density. Translation: the ferromarkers are climbing towards something that the manual treats like a fuse. Which is? I ask, trying to keep the panic out of my voice. The room seems to hum with the same sound Lyra is making, like an old radio finding the right station. Lyra's lips press together in a way that has always made me forget how to form coherent sentences. An escalation. If left unresolved, the cascade can progress to a state where the only suppression is determined completion. My brain stalls on the phrase determined completion, because of course it does. The humane half of my mind imagines dramatic, movie-style conclusions. The scientist side wheels through possibilities: chemical stabilizers, a cold shower, someone yelling science, and waving a clipboard. Lyra's expression is not amused. It requires a bonding gesture. She says quietly, as if testing the sound in the air. In Tiran practice, completion of a cascade is addressed by a ritualized exchange, an intimate contact that culminates in a reciprocal acknowledgement. Her eyes find mine and hold. Typically a Kithrin. I blink. A what? She tilts her head and explains with that charming literalness. A Kithrin is a kiss on the lapel of the heart, followed by vocalized consummation. In communal settings, it is private and sacred. Something somewhere between my ribs and my sense of propriety lurched. A kiss on the lapel of the heart? I repeat, so like a kiss? Yes, she says simply. But ritualized. It carries an intent. It signals completion. The word completion hangs in the air like steam. The practical part of me catalogs options: public versus private, sanctioned versus accidental, but the rest is a less competent organism, more interested in how Lyra's breath smells when she says the word completion. It is citrus and metal and something that makes my scalp buzz. We have to, what, perform, Kithrin? I ask, and my voice wobbles like it's trying to sound casual and failing spectacularly. She gives me one of her looks, maybe pity, maybe hunger, maybe both. The glow along her throat pulses as if angry with the limits of language. If the cascade is not abated, it will reach a level at which social and reproductive imperatives are triggered. A Kithrin will signal satisfactorily to both neurochemistry and social constructs that the agent is acknowledged and the cascade can be resolved. Of all the euphemisms for "we might have to kiss," signal satisfactorily to both neurochemistry is probably the most terrifying, for both social constructs and neurochemistry. I deadpan, because humor is the only raft I have. Lyra's eyelids flutter in a way that is entirely unambiguous. She is amused and flustered in the same beat. The glow at the edge of her collarbone blooms like a small apology. We could, I start, and then stop, because there are 100 ways this could go wrong. We could do it, I finish lamely, and mean it in a way that feels too big to be an offhand decision. She dips her head. The motion so human, it would have been impossible had she not practiced the tilt in front of our bathroom mirror like I once practiced my barista phone. There is also an alternative, she says. If Kithrin is unsuitable, there is an extended embrace accompanied by an exchange of ferromarkers synthesized with verbal acknowledgement. It is less formal. Translation: prolonged, intimate hugging with humming and words. That sounds less like a ritual and more like an affectionate wrestling match, which, put plainly, sounds exactly like me and my bad decision-making. I imagine the label roommate versus Kithrin partner that the universe might slap on us and feel several shades of panic. But when Lyra's hand lifts, hovering at the edge of my jaw, the panic dissolves into something warm and electric. Do you want me to perform it? She asks, voice so quiet it might have been a secret. My answer is embarrassingly immediate. Yes, her laugh surprises me. It's a soft exhale that lifts the hair on my forearms. Then we must proceed before the cascade reaches an undesired amplitude. We lean in. There is 100 small things that happen in the space of that lean to glow along. Lyra's throat flares like a lamp being struck. My pulse drumming in my ears. The apartment narrowing to the rise and fall of her chest. The hum in her chest becomes a steady note under my ear. I understand it as something like a nervous song. And the moment before our lips might meet, before ritual becomes action, the knock at the door, the one I had been trying, with all my comedic grace, to avoid comes again. This one is sharper, more urgent, like a fist on the thin membrane between containment and consequence. We pause, breath tangled, the world hanging like a question mark between us. Do you have to answer that? Lyra whispers, which is a ridiculous question, because of course I do. Civilization and curiosity make poor allies. I start. My mind is a fumbling, sentimental appliance. I think it's the landlord, I say, desperately grabbing at literalities. The apartment feels suddenly small enough to whisper inside. The hum in Lyra's chest speeds up. Her hand tightens on my jaw. The knock comes again, consistent and impatient. Behind it, the hallway fills with a sound I could swear is laughter, and then a voice calling my name. Mark. You in there? Emergency water supply. My name drawn out and casual slices through the suspended tenderness like a blunt knife. Lyra's gaze snaps to the door. Her glow sharpens into a color I don't know how to read. Her fingers tense. The threshold between ritual and interruption wobbles. And we both realize, with a jelly-mind shock, that whatever happens next will either finish the cascade or make it worse. The question is, who will knock this time, and which of us will answer? The knock strikes again firm, impatient, the kind of knock that says I have paperwork and no sense of personal boundaries. The voice outside follows, echoing down the hallway with bureaucratic cheer. Mark. Water inspection. Something about your unit's meter open up. Of all the cosmic disasters the universe could throw at me, it chose a city inspector. A city inspector who apparently thinks 10 p.m. is a perfectly normal time to check water meters. Lyra's glow shifts into a sharp, startled amber. I can feel the tension ripple through her palms as she pulls slightly back from me, but not far. Her fingers remain hooked on my jaw, almost stubbornly, as though the cascade itself refuses to let us fully part. This is not conducive to stabilization, she whispers, tone clipped with Tehran precision. I feel her hum vibrate against my chest like an agitated instrument. Tell that to the city utilities department. I mutter. The knocking accelerates. Hello? I can hear movement in there. Opening soon. Lyra recoils as if the door itself has sprouted claws. Opening soon? She repeats, offended. This human intends to breach our boundary without consent? That's kind of his vibe. I admit. In a flash of movement, her markings pulse, blooming into a brilliant gold. Her lower eyes narrow with laser focus, scanning the door like it's an invading predator. We must maintain proximity, she insists. A forced separation could cause a spike. A spike in what? I ask, instantly regretting the question. Her silence is answer enough. Her glow stutters, the warmth around us swelling and collapsing like a heartbeat skipping. Right, I say, gripping her shoulders. Stay close. I'll handle it. Handling turns out to be me, walking toward the door with a glowing alien woman glued to my back like a non-affectionate bioluminescent backpack. The inspector knocks one final time. If you don't answer, protocol says, I'm coming. I shout, startling both human and alien parties. I crack. The door opened exactly 3 inches the legal minimum for pretending you're home while hiding intergalactic problems behind. The inspector peers through the gap. He's a middle-aged man with a clipboard, a reflective vest, and the glazed expression of someone who has seen enough rental properties to lose faith in civilization. Evening, he says flatly. You got a meter reading discrepancy. I need to check your interior valve connections. Behind me, Lyra presses closer, her breath hot against my spine. I pray the inspector doesn't notice the soft glow seeping around my silhouette. Oh, that's bad timing, I say, smiling like a hostage. Won't take long, he says, already trying to widen the door. Panic spikes. The cascade inside Lyra seems to yelp, her hum suddenly trembling. Her fingertips dig into my shirt with surprising strength. No entry. She hisses under her breath. Why, you can't come in. I blurt, attempting to sound firm and failing spectacularly. Waters. Private. The inspector pauses. Sir, it's literally behind me. Lyra makes a sound low, thrumming, unmistakably territorial. A glow pulses around me, brightening with every shaky second. A warm, shifting cloud of pheromone drifts toward the doorframe. The inspector sniffs. Why does it smell like oranges and electricity? I push the door closer against my leg. A new air freshener. Smells illegal, he says flatly. I laugh in a tone that suggests I am guilty of war crimes. The hum behind me vibrates harder, and Lyra whispers urgently, he must leave. The pheromarkers are calibrating to defend the contact imprint. His presence is causing destabilization. I swore I understood maybe 10% of her words, but the message is clear. My glowing alien roommate is about 10 seconds from turning into a territorial space furnace in the doorway. Sir, I tell the inspector, gripping the door, right now is not how do I put this structurally ideal for you to enter my home. He squints. Are you hiding a gas leak? Something like that, I say. A pause. Then, mercifully, well, he sighs, checking his clipboard. If it's a pressurized leak, I actually shouldn't enter. Liability, you know. I'll mark it for next week. Bless the municipal guidelines. I nod enthusiastically. Perfect. Next week. Great. Come back when nothing inside my apartment is glowing. What? Nothing, I repeat firmly, and close the door before he can ask follow-ups. The latch clicks. The hallway goes quiet. My pulse does not. Asterisk, I sag backward, exhaling in relief, and immediately collide with Lyra, who is still clinging to me. The moment our bodies line up again, her hum steadies, then deepens into something warmer, richer. Her voice brushes my ear. You handled that. Barely. I wheeze. We almost introduced you to the Department of Water. She tilts her head, puzzled. Is that an apex social authority? No, they just like paperwork. Her glow softens, but only slightly. We must return to stabilization. The interruptions have increased volatility. Yeah, I noticed. We make our way back toward the couch, but Lyra doesn't release me. Instead, she drifts around to face me, her hands sliding up my chest with a deliberate slowness that makes my pulse hopscotch in my throat. Her 4 eyes scan me, not analytically this time, but searchingly, curiously, almost longing. Your reaction has altered the cascade, she murmurs. My reaction? You protectively positioned yourself between me and the intruder. I didn't want to explain you. She shakes her head. No, your scent markers changed. Your temperature rose. You leaned toward me. These are Tehran bonding behaviors. I did not lean, I protest. You leaned, she repeats, dead serious. The glow along her shoulders brightens like sunrise over ink. A small pulse of heat travels from her hands through my shirt, pooling against my skin. "Mark," she says softly, "the cascade is approaching threshold again." I swallow. "Meaning?" She steps closer until her forehead brushes mine again. The hum in her chest becomes a slow, hypnotic throb. Completion may be required. The word lands between us like a spark on dry tinder. My pulse tries to escape my body. Her eyes half close, markings blooming in warm spirals across her cheeks and throat. Your body heat has triggered a full response cycle. It will not resolve without a decisive exchange. You mean the Kithryn. Her exhale shivers across my lips. Yes. We stand suspended in that narrow, electric moment, breaths mingling, bodies a breath apart, the air thick with shimmering scent. Everything in her posture says she's holding herself back by sheer will. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, her fingers rise and trace the edge of my jaw. "If we do not complete it," she murmurs, "the cascade will continue to escalate. It is not harmful, but it is intensely uncomfortable." She leans closer. My world tilts, so. I whisper, "Kiss?" Her glow flares. "Yes," she breathes. "We are seconds, moments from crossing that line, from resolving the cascade in one incandescent, breath-sharing, universe-shrinking Kithryn." When a shrill beep sounds from across the room, both of us jerk. My phone lights up, vibrating across the coffee table with an incoming call. The screen reads, "Drive, Riemann Jorgent." Lyra stares at it, then at me, then back at it, her glow twitching in irritation. The cascade hum spikes. She murmurs, "If that human interrupts us again, I cannot promise to remain diplomatic." Which is when the phone begins ringing again, louder, insistent, and the universe, gleefully meddling, decides that the moment of our almost kiss must be postponed once more. At the worst possible time, the glow around Lyra's eyes sharpens into molten gold. I suggest. She whispers darkly, "You answer before I do." I scramble for the phone like it's a detonator that'll blow if I don't answer in the next 3 seconds. Lyra's glow snaps behind me like living lightning, humming in short, agitated pulses. If she had a tail, it would be lashing the air. "Hello?" I say, breathless. "Mark." Dr. Remen's voice is clipped, clinical, and profoundly unwelcome at this exact moment. "We have a problem at the lab." Behind me, Lyra stiffens, then slowly steps closer, her presence heat-wrapping around me like a second skin. A cascade hum, agitated a moment ago, now spikes in a sharper frequency, as if the mention of my supervisor is a personal insult. I swallow. Can this wait?" "No," Dr. Remen says flatly. "One of the xenobiology containment units malfunctioned. I need you here ASAP before we—" A faint crash echoes over the line, followed by a muffled curse and what sounds distinctly like a startled intern yelping. Then Dr. Remen adds, "Lose the subject entirely." Lyra's lower eyes snap wide, alarms firing behind them. "Lose?" she repeats, voice sharpening. "Lose what?" The phone is not on speaker. She should not have heard that. But her species' hearing is terrifying. Dr. Remen continues, oblivious. "This organism is heat-sensitive and highly reactive. You're the only one on staff with calibrated thermal tolerance certifications. Get here, now." The universe, sensing the exact wrong way to escalate a situation, has chosen this moment to introduce a heat-reactive alien organism. In an apartment where a heat-reactive alien woman is 2 seconds from ritual kissing me into biological bliss. Perfect. I raise the phone to respond, but Lyra's hand flashes out, pressing over mine, stopping me mid-motion. Her glow pulses with the unmistakable color of insulted jealousy. "No," she says softly. "No. My supervisor is having an emergency meltdown. An alien unit is apparently jailbreak curious." And Lyra, my glowing, humming, pheromone-saturated roommate is saying no? Lyra, I whisper urgently. This is my job. Her glow spikes. Your job demands your heat. I demand your presence. I stare at her. You make it sound like they're fighting over my thermostat settings. Her pupils flare. It is not humorous. On the phone, Dr. Remen continues. I'll call again in 2 minutes. Get moving, Mark. Then he hangs up. The moment the line goes dead, the air in the apartment shivers. A thick, slow pulse radiates outward from Lyra heat, merging with the fear markers around her like reaching vines. Her markings glow in rippling patterns that practically shout mine. I do not like this, she says, voice a low hum. Another being calling for you, demanding your heat, your presence, your voice. This is literally my supervisor. I say, it is irrelevant, she insists. Your biology is my concern now. Lyra. She steps forward, pressing her forehead to mine again, hard enough that I feel her hum vibrate through my skull. She's breathing faster now, her glow shimmering in waves. The cascade is near critical threshold, she murmurs, voice trembling with something between urgency and frustration. If you leave now, the instability will magnify. You will carry unbalanced ferric imprint into external environments, which means you will smell of me, she says bluntly, and I will smell of you. It will be extremely noticeable. I blink. To humans? To everything. Oh. She lifts one hand, fingers sliding through my hair with a gentleness that contradicts her urgency. We must complete the cycle. Now, my pulse trips. The cascade hum rises, resonating between our bodies like a not quite a kiss. We cannot continue to delay. She breathes. Every interruption increases the demand for resolution. You don't say? I mutter weakly. She leans closer. Too close. The air thickens. The scent deepens. Her glow warms my cheeks. Her lips hover a breath from mine, and my phone rings again. Lyra freezes mid-motion. Her markings flick violently from rose to blistering gold. No, she hisses with a depth of feeling that could probably melt the phone from across the room. She turns her head sharply toward the ringtone, eyes narrowing in utter betrayal, like my phone personally prevented her from winning an intergalactic prize. I will destroy that device, she vows. I hold up my hands. Let's not murder my phone. It is interfering, she growls. So is municipal water inspection. And the drone. And the universe. We can't kill everything. She blinks twice. I can try. Before I can argue, the ringtone stops. Silence. And then bang. A loud rattling knock hits the door. Not the polite knock from earlier. No, this one is frantic, heavy, and accompanied by a voice that should not be here. Mark. Hey, are you home? Remen said you weren't answering. It's Kayla. Again. This time sounding out of breath, worried, and inexplicably panicked. I groan into my hands. Why is everyone coming to my apartment today? Behind me, Lyra's glow snaps brighter. Not warm this time. Sharp, possessive. Her hum turns into a low, resonant warning note. She returns? Lyra says. Again? It's Kayla, I explain. My friend. She arrives during cascade threshold. Lyra says slowly, dangerously. Again? It's not her fault. Lyra steps into the shadows near the hallway light, her glow haloing behind her like a territorial aura. She smells of concern, and approach, and intrusion. She doesn't know what's happening. I whisper. That is precisely why I'm concerned, she counters. Kyla bangs again. Mark, I'm serious. Something weird is happening at the lab. They said you might be in danger. Hello? Her voice tightens with worry. And that is the final straw. The glow along. Lyra's entire body flashes like a flare. She is concerned for your safety, she says, tone clipped. This means she intends to approach, further, into this space. Lyra, no more interruptions. She takes my wrist gently, but with a strength that brooks no argument, and pulls me back toward the couch. The glow blooms brighter. The hum deepens. The cascade is seconds from spilling over. The universe decides to throw tinder onto a bonfire. Kayla yells through the door. Mark, I'm coming in. The door handle rattles. Lyra's eyes widen. Her glow spikes, and the cascade reaches its sharpest. Most dangerous hum yet, as we brace for a collision of human concern, alien instinct, and a ritual kiss that is now unavoidable. But I have no idea which one is going to land first. The doorknob jerks violently. Kyla's voice punches through the wood loud. Frantic, and entirely too close to triggering an intergalactic diplomatic incident. Mark, I swear if you don't answer, I'm breaking in. Lyra reacts like someone just set off a flare in her bloodstream. Her glow erupts. Not just bright brilliant, a thrumming halo of rose, gold, molten white, and heat that rolls off her like a living tide. The markings along her arms coil upward like serpentine light trails. Her pupils dilate, locking onto the door with predatory, laser-cut precision. This intrusion must not continue. She murmurs. This is the T-round equivalent of I will body check whoever steps inside. Lyra, no territorial defense. I whisper desperately. I am not defending territory, she says calmly. You're glowing like a warning beacon. I am defending us. Great. Fantastic. Wonderful. Love that for my stress levels. The door handle rattles again. And this time, it starts to turn. Kayla is actually coming in. Oh no. Oh no. Before I can move, Lyra moves from me. Not violently. Not aggressively. But with a fierce, sudden, instinctive urgency, one that nearly melts my spine. She grabs my shoulders and pulls me closer, full chest-to-chest contact. Heat flooding between us, the cascade hum roaring like a generator. Closer, she breathes. Which is ridiculous, because there is no closer left to achieve unless we occupy the same molecular space. We don't have time. I start, then we stabilize. We're mid-Kithrin pre. Yes, she says, decisive. We complete it. Complete. The door clicks. Kayla is pushing it open. Lyra's markings flare blindingly. Her forehead drops to mine. Her lips hover just above. Mark? What is WH? What is happening? Kayla's scream cuts through the apartment. Like a thrown knife. But she's not screaming because she caught us. Mid-something? She's screaming because she's just walked into a living room, filled with swirling luminescent pheromone threads. A humming alien woman pressed against me, and a glow so intense it casts shadows on the ceiling. Kayla's jaw drops. The bag in her hand drops. 2. Lyra does not look at her. She doesn't have to. The hum under Lyra's skin shifts into something unmistakably defensive, like an animal making itself bigger against a threat. Kayla stumbles backward, eyes wide. Oh my, why is she? She's glowing. She is glowing because you keep entering my apartment at the worst possible times. I say, voice cracking like a cheap floorboard. Kayla stares between us, then gropes blindly for the wall. I thought you were in danger. The lab said there was an organism reacting to heat. You weren't answering. I thought you got eaten by some space worm thing. I'm not eaten. I shout. Lyra finally turns her head, very slowly, to face Kayla. Her glow dims, not calming, but sharpening into a more controlled, deeper rose. Her markings pulse once, deliberate and slowed up, then she speaks. Human Kayla, she says, voice smooth as burning honey. Your presence is disrupting a critical ferric stabilization ritual. Kayla blinks. A what ritual? A bonding cascade, Lyra clarifies. Kyla pales. Is he? Are you? Oh my God. I bury my face in one hand. It's not what you think. It is exactly what she thinks, Lyra corrects calmly. But she lacks terminology. Kayla slaps a hand over her mouth. You're mating? Right now? No. I shout. Yes, Lyra counters. We're not, I sputter. We must, Lyra insists. Kayla emits a sound that is somewhere between a squeak, a gasp, and a small demand being exorcised. She scrambles backward, tripping over the entry rug. Oh gosh, okay dash, should I leave? Do you want privacy? Is this a biohazard? Her panic ricochets through the apartment, and Lyra reacts, not with aggression, but with something far more shocking. Her grip on me tightens not possessively, but protectively. Her glow shifts, tension unraveling into a softer, steady warmth. She lifts her chin, breathing out slowly. The hum steadies. Kayla stares, frozen, and Lyra says, very gently, he is not in danger. I would not harm him. Kyla's panic deflates like a sad balloon. You sure? She whispers. Because you look like a living supernova. Lyra blinks in that sincere, painfully literal way of hers. Yes, the glow is not hostile. It is involuntary. But Kyla almost cries. Lyra turns to me. The answer is written in every warm line of light across her body. Because of him. Kayla makes a strangled sound. I'm fairly sure I am dying. Heat floods my neck like my skin is staging a mutiny. Okay. I say quickly. Let's break this down. Lyra's having a biological reaction. I accidentally triggered it. Multiple times. Lyra adds helpfully. Kayla stares. By what? Breathing? Basically, I mutter. Kayla's eyes dart over us, me flushed. Lyra, glowing like the world's most affectionate star. She takes a slow breath. Mark, she says, voice trembling with disbelief. You didn't tell me your roommate was a gorgeous glowing alien lady with a thing for your heater core body. I open my mouth to deny it. Lyra beats me to the punch, stepping forward just enough to place one gently glowing hand over my chest. He is compatible, she says softly, as if confessing something sacred. And he is mine. Kayla squeaks again. Nope, I say instantly. We are not saying that to my friends. It is accurate, Lyra says calmly, not helping. But Kayla is too overwhelmed to tease me. She covers her face again, mumbling, Okay, I'll leave. I'll forget I saw this. I'll go scream in the hallway. Whatever this is, you two need space? Her eyes flicker between us. Her horror melts into something else, something dangerously close to delighted amusement. Oh my God, she breathes. You like him. Lyra's glow flutters, almost shy. Almost proud. Kayla sees it. Oh my God, she whispers. She likes you. She's glowing because of you. Lyra's markings pulse in a flustered ripple. And before I can stop anything, the cascade hum spikes. Again. Lyra gasps soft. Startled, her knees nearly buckled. My instinct kicks in instantly. I grab her shoulders. Lyra, are you okay? Her voice trembles. The cascade, too many interruptions. She sways. Her glow flares uncontrollably, blooming outward like a rippling aurora. Kyla jumps back. Is she gonna explode? No. I shout, catching Lyra against me. She's overheating. Lyra clings to me weakly, her markings shimmering out of sync. Mark, I can't stabilize. Not without. Her fingers clutch my shirt. Her voice drops into a whisper that turns my spine to static. Not without the Kithrin. Kyla freezes. My heart lurches. Lyra lifts her head. Eyes half-lidded, breath warm against my jaw. Please, she whispers. And Kyla, standing by the door, slaps both hands over her ears and yells, "Okay, I'm leaving. Good luck, have fun. Don't make it weird." She bolts out the door so fast she nearly forgets to close it. The moment it clicks shut, Lyra collapses fully into my arms. Her glow explodes in a burst of desperate, shimmering warmth. Her breath trembles. "Mark," she whispers again. "We're out of time." And the cascade finally surges to its breaking point. Lyra trembles in my arms, her body a radiant furnace barely holding itself together. The cascade hum has shifted from a warm vibration into something taut, sharp, and frayed at the edges. Like a string instrument tightened until it's almost ready to snap. Her markings flicker and frantic pulses rose. Gold, white, and a frantic scattering of them all. Okay. I've got you," I murmur, arms tightening around her instinctively. Her breath shivers against my chest. "I cannot." "Maintain coherence," she whispers, each word a trembling exhale. "My thermic field is destabilizing." That sounds like the opposite of comforting. It is the opposite of comforting. She sags, forehead dropping onto my shoulder. Her glow expands and contracts unevenly like a heartbeat out of rhythm. "We need to finish the ritual," she says, voice wobbling. "Now, without interruption, without hesitation." "Right," I say, trying to sound calm. "Because hesitation bad. Interruptions worse. Unresolved alien hormone explosion worst." Her fingers curl into the fabric of my shirt with the strength of someone trying to anchor herself to gravity. "Mark, please." The word please hits harder than any glow. I scoop an arm under her knees and lift her, surprised by how dense yet feather-light she feels, like lifting a sun wrapped in silk. She clings to me instinctively, arms around my neck. Hum spiking as our bodies press fully together. Her throat glows with a soft pink halo, and her lower eyes flutter closed. "I apologize," she whispers into my collar. "I did not expect to become this overwhelmed. You and me both," I murmur, carrying her toward the couch. "Though I'm starting to think your species biology was designed by someone who hated subtlety." "It was designed by nature," she says faintly. "And nature is not subtle." We settle onto the cushions, me sitting, her kneeling across my lap, her glow casting ripples of warm light over the room. She trembles again, and I slide my hands up her back, trying to steady her. Her hum responds, smoothing faintly under my touch. Her eyes open, all four. And for the first time, I see something shining behind them, something beyond instinct, beyond biology. A softness, a question, a wanting. "Mark," she breathes, brushing her forehead against mine. "Are you prepared for the Kithrin?" "Only emotionally, spiritually, and in the sense that my heart is trying to beat its way out of my ribs," I admit. A laugh, fragile but honest, escapes her. It makes her glow flare warm and soft again. "It will not hurt," she says. "But it will be intimate." "Everything with you is intimate," I say before thinking. Her glow stutters, embarrassed, flustered, and she presses closer, hands sliding along my shoulders with feather-light urgency. Then we are aligned. Aligned. The air heats around us. She lifts both hands to my jaw, her thumbs brushing my skin with a reverent slowness that practically rewires my neurons. Her markings bloom outward in spirals, as if reaching toward me, longing for contact. "The Kithrin begins with proximity," she murmurs. "Our breaths must synchronize." My mouth goes dry. "Okay, breathing, I can do that." We inhale together. Slow. Her glow pulses with every rise of my chest. Then exhale. Her hum deepens as she mirrors me. We repeat. Inhale, exhale, inhale, our foreheads almost touching, our breaths mingling until the air between us feels thick and warm and shared. can feel the tension draining from her limbs, replaced with a heated, trembling anticipation. "Next," she whispers, brushing her nose against mine in a gesture so gentle it nearly breaks me. "The contact point." "Contact point," I echo. She swallows, her markings shimmering. "The lapel of the heart, here." She touches her fingertips lightly to the center of my chest, right above my heartbeat. The glow beneath her skin responds, softening, expanding. Her hum melts into a low, warm resonance that vibrates between us. I hesitate, not out of fear, out of awe, not because every instinct she has, every reflex, every biological flare, every glow has latched on to me. Me, a normal, average, functioning but sometimes chaotic human. Her eyes search mine. "Mark, you must touch the lapel of my heart in return." I slide my hand over her sternum, feeling the warmth spreading there like molten silk. Her skin glows beneath my palm, brighter and brighter, her breath catching in a soft gasp. "This is the acknowledgement," she murmurs. "Now." She shifts, leaning in, lips hovering just over my skin, where her hand rests on my chest. Her breath dances hot against me. My pulse spikes. "Lyra." Her glow trembles. "I need to complete it," she whispers, voice barely holding steady. "May I?" She's asking, despite her biology pressing her forward, despite her haze of pheromarkers, despite the urgency twitching in her glow. She asks, gentle, careful, human, and it turns the moment from overwhelming to something impossibly tender. "Yes," I say softly. "You can." She exhales a warm, shaky release of relief and lowers her lips to my chest. Not a full kiss, more like a brush of warmth, a sacred press, a soft lingering contact that radiates through me like sunlight sinking into ice. Her glow explodes in gentle, rippling waves. The hum turns into a resonant, harmonic chord. Then she leans back enough to meet my eyes. "You must complete my Kithrin," she whispers, cheeks glowing rose gold. "Here." She touches her fingers to her own heart, just above her sternum. My breath catches. I lean in. Slowly. Her eyes half close, her glow trembling, her hands tightening on my shoulders. I lower my lips to the spot she indicated, pressing gently, letting my breath warm her skin. The moment our contact lands, her entire body shudders. The hum surges through her, through me, through the space between us like something ancient and instinctive being unlocked. Her glow dances wildly, then steadies, then slowly melts into a soft, contented radiance. She gasps softly, hands sliding up to cup the back of my neck. "Mark," she whispers. And then there's a shift, a pull, a gravity, something between our chests tugs. A warm, gentle tether forming like a newly lit thread of energy binding our breath, our heat, our heartbeats. "This is the final phase," she murmurs, leaning closer. "The closing gesture." "What's the closing gesture?" I ask. She smiles a small, glowing smile that almost undoes me. "A kiss." My pulse crashes. "A normal kiss?" I breathe. "Normal for you," she whispers, leaning in, glow warming my cheeks. "Deeply meaningful for us." Her lips hover over mine, breath mingles, glow pulses. Hum deepens, and then, thump, something slams against the wall. We both freeze. Glow flickers in irritation. I groan. Lyra mutters. If this is another human interrupting, I hold my breath. Silence. Then, "Mark?" calls a muffled, nasally voice from the hallway. It's the landlord. "You're late on your water heating surcharge." Lyra stares at me. I stare back. And for the first time tonight, she looks like she might actually commit a federal offense. Her glow cracks like lightning. "Mark," she whispers sharply. "Yes?" Close, The cascade. She grabs my collar. Now. The landlord's muffled shouting echoes down the hallway like the world's most poorly timed alarm clock. Mark. If you don't answer about the water surcharge, his voice drones on, wobbling through the door like a foghorn made of annoyance dot inside the apartment. Time freezes. Not the peaceful, serene kind of freeze, no. This is the universe dash shit dash, pause dash to dash, laugh dash at dash me kind of freeze. Lyra stares at the door like she could vaporize it with sheer irritation. Her glow sputters, rose, white, then a deep molten gold her markings, flexing in patterns that scream, I cannot endure one more interruption. Why? She whispers. Trembling with disbelief, do humans appear at your dwelling in a constant stream? Because the universe hates me, I whisper back. The landlord bangs again. Mark, Lyra's glow spikes sharply. If he says your name one more time, I gently grab her wrists. Lyra, focus, cascade, stabilization, remember? Her hum stutters like a shorted circuit. I am trying. But the interruptions, your landlords, your inspectors, your Kaylas, they are endless. You're telling me. The landlord starts to jiggle the doorknob. Oh, come on. I groan. Lyra's markings pulse in a rhythm I now recognize, dangerously close to a critical emotional outburst. She grabs both sides of my face and pulls me toward her. Our noses almost touching, her breath mixing with mine in sharp, heated bursts. Mark, she says, voice trembling. We must complete the Kithrin before your entire species arrives at your door. Hold still. Lyra, he's going to bust in. No, she says firmly, wrapping her arms around my neck. We are finishing this. But now, she breathes, and her forehead presses to mine. Glow intensifying. The landlord bangs again. Lyra lets out a soft, dangerous growl, almost musical, but unmistakably territorial. Mark, I'm coming in if you... I don't get to hear the rest, because Lyra moves. Not rushed dot, not frantic dot, but with a slow, decisive grace that drains every coherent thought from my brain. Her hands frame my jaw, her markings brighten into soft, molten gold, and then her lips finally brush against mine dot, and the cascade breaks. Open, not explosively, not violently, but with a warmth so deep it feels like a quiet dawn spreading through my chest. The hum between us swells into a soft, vibrating harmony. Her glow flares, then falls into a steady, rhythmic pulse like our breaths sinking into the same gentle tide. Her hands tighten in my hair. Mine tighten around her waist. Everything narrows to the warmth of her mouth, the brush of her breath, the glow on my skin, the hum vibrating against my ribs. She pulls back only a breath's width, just enough to murmur. Voice shaking, completion. Then she leans in again, forehead resting against mine, exhaling a trembling sigh. The controlled glow that spreads along her skin now is nothing like the frantic bursts before. It's calm, soft, intimate. The cascade is stabilized. Her hum slows into a warm, heartbeat-like rhythm. Her arms soften around me. Her exhale warms my cheek. Outside, the landlord's knocking fades into confused mumbling. Guess he's not home. Footsteps retreat down the hall. Silence returns. Warm, peaceful, radiant. Lyra finally opens her eyes. All four glow faintly in the dim living room, reflecting a deep, emotional softness I've never seen on her face before. It is done, she whispers. My heart is still sprinting. That was necessary, she finishes. I laugh, breathless. Right, for the ritual. And only for the ritual. Her glow deepens into a warm pink that contradicts every single word she is about to say. Not only, she murmurs. My eyebrows lift. Oh? She swallows, markings flickering with shy pulses of ember-bright light. I wanted to. That hits me harder than the kiss. My chest does something embarrassingly dramatic. She brushes her thumb over my cheek, gaze serious and searching. Mark, she begins softly, a Kithrin has consequences. Oh God. Not bad ones, she adds quickly, her glow fluttering in reassurance. But important ones. In Tyron culture, a completed cascade signifies temporary bonding. Temporary bonding, I repeat slowly. Yes, a recognized connection. A shared thermal imprint. A mutual acknowledgement of attraction. I blink. Attraction? She gives me a look that is somehow both alien and devastatingly human. Yes, Mark, did you not notice? My glow reacts to you. My hum reacts to you. My senses? She inhales near my neck and shivers. React to you. I thought that was just biology, I say weakly. It is biology, she says. But also something more. She takes my hands in hers, her glow warming our joined fingers. For the next cycle, approximately 1 lunar month, you and I are considered bonded. My heart stutters. Bonded, as in roommates plus? She tilts her head. Yes, roommates plus. I blink again. Like a dating thing? A cultural thing? A you now glow when you see me thing? Yes, she says simply. All of those. Oh, does this alarm you? She asks carefully. I shake my head. No, just surprised. She smiles softly small, glowing, impossibly gentle. Good, because I find this bond pleasant. I swallow. Yeah, me too. Silence settles warmly around us. Then Lyra brightens suddenly. Oh, there is one more cultural detail you must know. Please tell me it's not another emergency. No, it is simply that, during a bonding cycle, it is traditional for partners to sleep in the same resting space. My brain blue screens. Sleep, I repeat, breaking the word down like an unfamiliar molecule. Yes, she confirms. To maintain thermal equilibrium and neuro-emotional alignment. I can't tell if that's science or flirting. Both, she says without hesitation. I laugh weakly. Right, of course. She leans in again, brushing her forehead to mine, the softest, warmest gesture yet. Mark, she murmurs, will you share a resting cycle with me tonight? My heart thumps hard. Yeah, I whisper. I'd like that. Her glow warms into blissful satisfaction. Good, she says. Then phase 2 begins. Phase 2? The settling. The what? The part, she explains seriously, where I hold you until your heat regulation harmonizes with mine. Oh God, I whisper. You're going to use me as a space heater. Yes, she says proudly. All night. I bury my face in her shoulder. I've created a monster. Your monster, she corrects, kissing my cheek in a way that sends electric sparks across my skin. I groan. Great, fantastic, amazing. She pulls back just enough to smile radiant. Affectionate, teasing. Come, she says, taking my hand and leading me toward the bedroom, with a glow that softens the shadows on the walls. We must align our breathing patterns. And I wish to be close. Why? I ask, already knowing. Because, she says simply, I told you. Your heat is addictive. And as she pulls me gently into the warm, glowing comfort of her arms, I realize I don't mind being followed everywhere. Not by her. Not anymore.